The Battle of Lepanto, Clash for the Mediterranean. The year is 1571. The Mediterranean, a cradle of civilization, brims with turmoil as two mighty powers clash over its control. On one side, the formidable Ottoman Empire, its fleet a symbol of undisputed dominance. On the other, a desperate alliance of European states, the Holy League, united under the looming shadow of an expanding empire. What unfolds in the Gulf of Patras is not just a battle, but a confrontation of cultures, faiths, and destinies, the Battle of Lepanto. The Mediterranean of the 16th century was a hotbed of ambition, a vital crossroads of trade, opportunity, and military strategy. The Ottoman Empire, with its relentless expansion, cast a long, threatening shadow over Europe. For decades, the Ottomans controlled key trade routes, dominating commerce and squeezing European powers struggling to maintain their foothold in the sea's critical network. Meanwhile, Europe was fractured, split by political rivalries, religious reformations, and competing ambitions. Yet, the Ottoman threat forced unlikely allies to forge an uneasy peace. Under the urging of Pope Pius V, the Holy League was born, a coalition of Spain, Venice, the Papal States, and others. They may have been divided on many fronts, but in this moment, a singular purpose united them: the survival of Christian Europe against Ottoman expansion. By the mid-16th century, the Ottoman navy was widely feared. With massive galleys and an experienced fleet, they controlled the waters with confidence. Their victories, from the fall of Constantinople in 1453 to the conquest of key islands like Rhodes and Cyprus, testified to their ascendance. Their expansion toward Western waters wasn't just about territory. It was about sending a message to a fragmented Europe. The Ottomans were here to stay, and no force could challenge their dominance. For the Christian states, failing to act would mean ceding the Mediterranean to their greatest rival. The formation of the Holy League in 1571 was extraordinary. Rival states like Spain and Venice shelved their differences, if only briefly, to create a united front. Pope Pius V, the architect behind the alliance, was the glue holding this coalition together, insisting that European unity was essential if they were to challenge Ottoman supremacy. At the forefront of this alliance was Don John of Austria, the illegitimate half-brother of Spain's King Philip II. Charismatic, young, and bold, Don John was chosen to command this multinational force. Leading such a fragile coalition was no easy task, but Don John's resolve, combined with the shared urgency of the moment, was enough to keep this uneasy alliance afloat. For both sides, the stakes were enormous. For the Holy League, this was a battle for survival. Losing meant the Ottomans would continue to encroach on European trade and territory. For the Ottomans, their maritime dominance relied on maintaining their grip over the eastern Mediterranean. Victory would cement their reign over the sea. Defeat would mark the first significant crack in their naval supremacy. The battle was deeply symbolic. It was not just about ships and soldiers, but about identity, religion, and power. It was a struggle to decide the future of the Mediterranean world itself. The Gulf of Patras in western Greece became the stage for this monumental confrontation. This narrow, enclosed stretch of water would amplify every decision and mistake. On October 7, 1571, the fleets of the Holy League and the Ottoman Empire finally came face to face. Over 400 ships carrying tens of thousands of men crowded these waters, transforming them into a crucible of fire and fury. The Holy League's fleet was composed of Venetian galleys, Spanish warships, and various vessels from the Papal States and Italy. In opposition, the Ottoman forces brought their powerful, sleek ships, widely regarded as some of the best in the world. The air was thick with tension as the two sides readied themselves for combat. The Holy League's fleet was led by Don John of Austria, flanked by Venetian commander Agostino Barbarigo and Spanish Admiral Álvaro de Bazan. Their galleys carried thousands of well-armed soldiers, equipped with guns, swords, and the resolve of men fighting for their homelands and faith. The Ottoman fleet, under the command of Ali Pasha, was equally formidable. Among their ships were the elite Janissaries, renowned as one of the most deadly fighting forces of their time. The Ottomans also carried superior numbers and confidence, having dominated the Mediterranean for years. no one on their side could have imagined how markedly the day would end. As dawn broke on October 7th, the fleets moved into position. The Holy League arranged their ships in a crescent-shaped formation, designed to counter the swarming tactics of the Ottoman fleet. The battle erupted into chaos as the two sides clashed furiously. Cannons roared, shredding wooden hulls, and archers unleashed volleys of arrows that darkened the skies. Amidst the thunder of artillery, ships collided, turning into floating arenas for brutal hand-to-hand combat. Soldiers leapt from one deck to another, their swords and axes glinting in the sunlight. The sea, once a symbol of freedom, became a trap, a bloody arena with no escape. Though the Ottoman fleet initially seemed poised for victory, the tide began to turn. A crucial moment came when the Christian commanders capitalized on their superior firepower. Advances in naval gunnery allowed the Holy League to devastatingly target Ottoman ships, breaking their formations and morale. Don John of Austria led from the front, inspiring his men with his presence and refusing to retreat in the face of overwhelming odds. Venetian leader Agostino Barbarigo sacrificed himself, heroically defending the front line to prevent a breach. These acts of valor inspired the men aboard the Holy League's vessels, driving them to fight even harder. The Ottoman fleet was overwhelmed. By day's end, more than two-thirds of the Ottoman ships were destroyed or captured. Tens of thousands of sailors and soldiers lay dead or imprisoned. For the Holy League, the losses were far fewer but still significant, a stark reminder of the battle's ferocity. The Holy League's victory was not just military, it was psychological. For the first time in over a century, the Ottoman navy had been decisively defeated. The myth of their invincibility had shattered, and the Christian forces had proved that unity against a common foe could yield miraculous results. The consequences of Lepanto were felt immediately. The Ottomans, though still a potent force, struggled to rebuild their navy to its former glory. Their westward expansion in the Mediterranean ground to a halt. For the Holy League, the victory was a much-needed morale boost. It was celebrated across Europe as a divine triumph, a moment when divine intervention had turned the tide of history. However, the Holy League's cohesion was short-lived. The alliance began to fracture after the battle, and the European states soon returned to their squabbles and rivalries. Still, the Battle of Lepanto stood as a reminder of what they could achieve when united. The Battle of Lepanto became immortalized as a crucial chapter in the struggle between Europe and the Ottoman Empire. Poets wrote of it, artists painted its ferocity, and historians hailed it as a turning point in world history. G.K. Chesterton's famous poem resounds with the memory of Lepanto, celebrating the courage of Don John and the resilience of the Holy League. Lepanto was more than a military contest. It was a clash of ideologies, a stand for survival, and a demonstration of the power of unity. Its lessons of resilience in the face of great odds and the importance of collaboration in times of peril still resonate today. Militarily, the Battle of Lepanto showcased the importance of adapting tactics and technology. The Holy League's use of gunnery gave them a decisive edge, proving that firepower could overcome even the most seasoned fleet. Culturally, the battle signified the end of Ottoman invincibility in the eyes of Christian Europe. It marked a turning point where, despite their victories, the Ottomans were no longer viewed as an unstoppable force. Despite its significance, the Battle of Lepanto is sometimes misunderstood. It did not end Ottoman power entirely. Their empire continued to thrive for centuries. However, it was a powerful blow to their naval ambitions and a key psychological win for Europe. Understanding Lepanto in its full complexity reminds us of the nuances of history, not just as a series of events, but as a tapestry woven with human ambition, sacrifice, and resilience. The Battle of Lepanto remains etched in the annals of history as a symbol of courage, strategy, and the fragile power of unity. It was a day when the course of the Mediterranean was forever altered, and when two worlds collided in a contest not just of ships, but of civilizations. Let us remember Lepanto not only as a moment of triumph, but as a vivid reminder that, in history, the tides of power can turn in a single day. The courage of those who fought and the legacy they left behind continue to inspire us to this very day. For history isn't just the story of the past, it's the foundation for the future.